Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Joan Vassos admits retro senior prom is the perfect first date. The Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos got to meet her 24 men last week during the inaugural episode of the show. While she had to cut ties with 4, she still has 20 men to speed date over the next few weeks. Unquestionably, she has many big decisions ahead, but she admits that having a throwback to senior prom was the perfect first date. Joan Vassos has her work cut out for her. Although Joan Vassos' journey has just begun, she is off to a great start getting to know her guys. Undeniably, she has a wonderful group of guys to pick from. While there are a few red flags that viewers have spotted, the crew seems to have fun. However, it is too early to tell the men's true colors. Undeniably, Joan has her work cut out for her to determine who she will take with her to the end. In a preview for the newest episode of The Golden Bachelorette, the seniors are having the time of their lives returning to a throwback senior prom. During the upcoming episode of The Golden Bachelorette, the preview teases a great first group date. But Bachelor Nation didn't spare any effort when setting up Joan Vassos' retro senior prom. Since most of the Golden Bachelorette men would have gone to prom in the 80s, Bachelor Nation had them set up in a decked-out gymnasium with balloons, silver streamers, retro punch bowls, and powder blue suits. Among the men vying for her time and attention on the spectacular throwback date were Mark Anderson, Bob Kilroy, Jonathan Roan, Jordan Heller, Gary Livingston, Keith Gordon, and Guy Gansert. Each is moving and grooving to the music. They posted throwback photos from each of the attendees' original prom, showing a classic recreation of their memory lane. Each of the photos shows a glimpse at the men in their prime and showcases some of their personality. Furthermore, Joan and Jonathan connect over his past photo and how young he appears. She asks how old he is there, and he guesses he was a sophomore. But they also had a photo set for the guys to capture their prom date with Joan. Although it was a fast and furious evening, Joan seemed to enjoy revisiting the past while she searched for her future love. However, it wasn't all fun and games. Not only is winning over Joan's heart part of the mission, but these men are duking it out to gain the coveted title of Golden Bachelorette Prom King from their magical lady. Furthermore, Jess Palmer gets everyone excited, saying, "Thank you so much for being here to celebrate the first ever Golden Prom." Additionally, he ignites the competition. "We are gonna have a lot of fun here today, but of course, who tonight will be crowned Prom King?" Undeniably, Joan Vassos will have a tough decision. But Gary is ready to party. He says, "I'm gonna just let loose out there." While the men are grooving on the dance floor, Mark Anderson is the bad boy that snuck in a flask to spike the punch. However, Joan Vassos doesn't seem to mind. She even seems to become his accomplice in the matter. Although the guys had to split their time with Joan Vassos, they seem to have fun anyway. The preview shows Joan getting photos with Mark Anderson, Guy Gansert, Jordan Heller, and so much more. But most importantly, Joan had a blast getting to know each of the men a little better. She says, "We're having such a good time. It's just like the perfect first date." Under the glittering chandeliers of an elegant event hall, Joan Vassos smiled warmly, her eyes twinkling with excitement as she recounted the magic of her unique first date idea, a retro senior prom. "I've always believed that nostalgia has a way of breaking down barriers," she began, adjusting her sequin jacket that gleamed like the disco ball she'd envisioned for the big night. "When you're dancing under the same lights that remind you of your younger years, it's impossible not to feel connected." It all started during a casual conversation with producers of The Golden Bachelorette. Joan had been brainstorming potential date themes that would reflect her personality: fun, sentimental, and just a tad unconventional. "I didn't want something predictable like a wine tasting or a sunset hike. I wanted something that would bring out the joy and the laughter, something that would make us feel alive," she explained. The concept of a retro senior prom hit her like a lightning bolt of inspiration. Joan had fond memories of her high school prom. The puffy sleeve dress, the clunky corsage, and the bittersweet emotions of saying goodbye to childhood. She wanted to recreate that magic. But with the wisdom and confidence of age, "We've all lived through so much," she said. "Why not celebrate where we are now, while revisiting where we came from?" The producers loved the idea, and within days, a grand plan was in motion. Invitations went out to the remaining contestants, each of whom was instructed to dust off their dancing shoes and prepare for an evening of tuxedos, gowns, and heartfelt nostalgia. The event would take place in a vintage ballroom decked out with retro decor, shimmering streamers, balloon arches, and, of course, a massive disco ball. On the night of the prom, the contestants arrived one by one, each looking dashing in their attire. Pascal Ibu, ever the charmer, sported a velvet blazer that screamed 1970s chic. Guy Gansard, the gentle soul of the group, arrived with a single rose pinned to his lapel, a nod to the traditional prom corsage. And Mark Anderson, who had been teasing Joan about his lack of rhythm all week, walked in with a sly grin and a pair of white patent leather shoes that could only mean he'd been practicing some moves in secret. Joan herself made a grand entrance in a dress that blended old-school glam with modern elegance. The golden gown shimmered as she walked into the room, her smile lighting up the night. The men were captivated, but it was Mark who broke the silence, bowing theatrically and declaring, "Ladies and gentlemen, our prom queen has arrived." The night kicked off with a slow dance to Unchained Melody, a song that Joan had specifically requested. "It's one of those timeless tunes that just melts your heart," she explained. As the couple swayed gently under the disco ball, Joan found herself paired with Pascal. "You've got the moves of a French movie star," she teased as he spun her gracefully. But it wasn't all slow songs and sentimentality. The DJ soon cranked up the energy with a medley of hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Joan and her suitors took to the dance floor with gusto, laughing and cheering as they attempted the hustle, the twist, and even the electric slide. "I haven't seen moves like that since my college days," Joan joked as Guy pulled off an impressive moonwalk. One of the evening's highlights came during the prom photo session. A makeshift photo booth had been set up in one corner, complete with cheesy props like oversized sunglasses, feather bows, and glittery hats. Joan and the men posed for group shots and individual photos, each trying to outdo the other with silly faces and dramatic poses. It was pure, unfiltered joy, Joan recalled. And that's exactly what I wanted this date to be about. As the night wore on, Joan made sure to spend time with each contestant, sharing quiet moments amidst the chaos of the dance floor. With Mark, she reminisced about their respective high school experiences, discovering a shared love for cheesy romantic comedies. With Guy, she discussed the challenges of parenthood and how their children had shaped their perspectives on love. And with Pascal, she delved into the importance of staying true to oneself, no matter the circumstances. But the most emotional moment of the evening came during the crowning of the prom king and queen. Joan had asked the men to vote anonymously, and to her surprise, they all voted for her. "I thought it was supposed to be a tie," she laughed, tears glistening in her eyes as she accepted the crown. "But you've all made me feel like royalty tonight." In turn, Joan chose Mark as her prom king, a decision that seemed to catch him off guard. "I've been giving you such a hard time about your dancing," she told him as she placed the crown on his head. "But you showed me tonight that it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, being yourself, and having fun."